he picked the wrong family, and not scared of a conflict, and we're not scared. We're not running. We're coming at him.
Well, good evening, friends. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Franky, and this is Mekci.
Hello.
And this is the Think Tank.
Happy Friday, y'all.
Yes. Happy Friday, good God. So you're watching the car chase, Dandy? I like them. Anxiety is through the roof. Do you get that way, Mekci?
Yes. Some of these.
I feel like you're in the vehicle with them.
I think the Challenger one from Texas, or was it a Challenger? I can't remember what it was. The one from Texas was like,
yeah, even when you know how they're going to end up,
still
like, oh my God. Oh my, yeah, right on the edge of your seat. So not the Brian Kohlberger, but the
Moscow.
Yeah, Moscow. See, Mekci.
The Moscow kids.
The Moscow kids. But the one that just finished up. Here we go. Murdochs. Yes, the Murdochs. Yeah. Good God.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a long go.
It was. I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it earlier, but I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah, it was a stressful case.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Absolutely. Yeah, talking about all the M's, and I'm like, it's like all the Bryans.
And all the Bryans, yeah.
Yeah, I was glad it came to but a very fast conclusion.
Yeah, that was really surprising. Like the turnaround time on that verdict was surprising to me.
Do you know what? The prosecution laid all that out so good at the very end.
I like that second guy. The second guy that came up for the prosecution.
Yeah,
he did that. He was so passionate. I was like, man, he got your attention. Like,
yeah, he would raise his voice. What do you say? How many murder trials has he done? Like,
I don't know, but I'd be kind of just spacing out, and all of a sudden he would yell. I was like, "Oh, damn!"
And that's the same guy. That's the same guy that fell asleep. It was like, I am really not.
He needed his rest for a little power nap, beauty sleep before his turn. He was like, "Is it my time to shine?" Yes, honey, it's your turn. Get up there, do your thing.
Yeah, he had his arm kind of stretched out along the back of the. And yeah, his head was going down, and then he's like, kind of, oh my God, it was funny. I'm like, look, everybody.
That trials are really, I mean, I wasn't even part of the trial. I'm not part of the jury. I can imagine trying to sit still for 8 hours in a day would not work out for me.
Having to burn the midnight oil to get.
Oh gosh.
Right?
It was hard just watching it. I could imagine sitting there like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and the cringe. Oh, so much cringe.
Yeah, there really was. There really, really was. Yeah. I mean, like I've said quite a few times, I really didn't get into that case until it started, and you're like, oh, I've been watching those forever. And it's like, I'm gonna look into that then. And then I was sold. It's like unreal. Yeah. If it was a book, nobody would believe it.
Yeah, true story. Like
Oh,
you can't imagine like any person, any human being getting away with all of the things
yeah.
that he did. You think that eventually
I want to
somebody
find
would have caught on, but
I want to find out about all those pills. Like what they must have been using that airstrip. I've heard that they were, but they had to have been like holy Ozarks. What was he doing with like 1,000 milligrams of that crap a day?
I'm like picturing,
An
this
OD.
is just like my own personal opinion, you know, because I have a really hard time believing that he was taking all
Oh,
of
he couldn't
those
have
because he would be
been dead. Like he would,
or
it's not
something very
survivable.
close to it. Like he would
Oh, it's
just
not survivable. The amount that he
um
was taking, literally a human would
so I don't know if it was like a party thing for like him and maybe some of his buddies, or I don't know. I'm curious about a couple of things that didn't get answered in the process of all of that, but maybe it'll come out later because he does have drug charges.
exactly.
So maybe it'll come out then on what exactly.
Yeah. You see, I haven't looked at all of those charges. Is there a calendar for that?
Yes. There's a calendar for that. I made a calendar, guys. I don't know if you know this, but I made a calendar.
It is like unreal. I go to look for something and she's like, Frankie, it's in the calendar. It's like, oh my God. So now I've got it like literally pinned to the bottom. It's not going anywhere.
Mm.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to need to get more ink, but I'd love to print it off.
Don't print the calendar. The calendar would be useless if you print it. You can't.
Yeah.
It's only helpful if it's digital.
No, it's not though, because
Well, yeah, I mean, other than you know when dates happen, but like if it's
you know where to
digital, you
look.
can click on the stuff, you know.
But if I want to go through the paperwork, I can sit down, I can circle
Oh, yeah.
things and go, okay, I want to look at that tomorrow and I want to look at, yeah. Because there's still so many questions.
Stephen Smith is the one that's lingering for me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do wonder.
I'm not finding paperwork on that, sadly. And I know it's out there.
There's not a lot out there for him. I do know that there's like a couple of articles and stuff, but
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of information. I don't know if that's because it really truly is an open case, like Slud said,
That makes sense.
that's why there's nothing out there. But I also want to know like who was involved because they reopened it
Yeah.
because of their investigation into Paul and Maggie's
Exactly.
death. So
Exactly. They're saying they came across something. Are you trying to eat my, you cannot do that. You can't eat my clothes while I'm wearing them. No.
so what do they have? Like, I want to know what they have.
I'm sorry?
I want to know what they have, like, because if it's something obvious, like if it's like the actual murder weapon that has like Stephen Smith's blood on it,
right?
why isn't there been charges? Why isn't there more talk about it? It has to be something that's not
Maybe he had opiates in his system,
maybe not so obvious. Maybe
something along those lines, or even a piece of paper on him that says called Buster with a big heart around it.
right, like it's like written in like someone's handwriting, like it's in a journal or a diary that's like I did this and...
right. Yeah. And
I don't know.
I could actually believe that he would have kept a diary, to be honest. He was just anything that I've seen that's described him, I could see him being he was a compassionate kind of individual. And not just girls like to diary.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing to keep a journal. I will never bash on that.
Oh, absolutely. My ex-husband opened mine and read it while I was out of the house. And when I came back, it said, "Fuck you, bitch," written across. It's like, well, there's a reason.
Right. Like, don't act like you didn't know you were being that way, bro. Like, come on.
Well, and not even that. I mean, if it's private, it's private. And if you
Yeah.
go in there and you read something you don't like, well, that's on you.
Right. No one told you to read that. It says private, big
Yeah.
letters in the front of it. There was a lock holding it.
That's the thing. Like, there is a lock on that. If you have to pick the lock to get into it, it's probably
Read at your own accord.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he knew that that was kind of how I got rid of my frustrations. He got in there. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Fuck you, bitch.
What
was pressed down so hard, it went through like 3-4 pieces of paper. Oh yeah, he was joked. I'm like, well,
it'd be like the petty one. I was like, you owe me a new diary, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, oh my God, you deserved every second of that. Hope you enjoyed it. And Dara and I always say to her, like, if I go before you, or even my hubby, because I know he won't, but it would be like, get everything out of the house that has private writings in it and burn it. Because, yeah, you just, you don't want to look in there if it doesn't have your name on it. And even if it says private and your name's on it, don't go past that.
Right.
I will still journal. But now I could be writing a case and something in my mind would be like, oh yes, pumpkin spice. And then I'm gonna go like,
oh, look, sparkles. Yay. Yeah.
I've been really glad to see her joining us. That's so awesome.
Yes, it is nice to see, interact with someone that you speak so highly of. I'm like, oh, look. Look at her. She's so cute. She's like, where is she? And then she's like, here I am. I'm like,
hi. Yeah, she's definitely an awesome person. One of my absolute favorites.
I need to send her a link to Discord or something with instructions on how to join.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm not liking about Discord is even though it says it's a permanent number, you can't always use that.
You have to change the amount the link is available for.
So if I've changed it and then I go back in and change it again, have I screwed up the other one?
No.
Okay, then I'm good. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? Yeah, it's not that easy. No, that's not true. It's not the most difficult platform I've had to learn. But it's like anything. You just have to kind of bounce around, try and figure it out. And once you've got it kind of figured out, I mean,
on the phone, I do think it's a little bit difficult. Like I use it mainly on a computer, so.
Oh, right.
It's way easier for me to navigate through.
Yeah.
But the phone is a little tricky. It's confusing.
The only thing I ever do with Discord, well, unless it rings and I know it's you, it's like, oh shit. Or I'm taking pictures to send to you. Basically, anything I do is regarding you.
Yeah, me. I feel important.
So, what about all this Koberger stuff the last few days?
So you said that they moved his date up, huh, to April?
Not Koberger.
No? Who?
No, that was Brian Walsh.
Oh, well, that guy's gonna fry.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Real.
We were actually looking for updates on Nicola Bully and Anna Walsh, but there's nothing.
No, a little bit to chit chat about, but not What are you doing down there? Hello? Yeah, don't chew on that. No. Yeah. Oh my God. My little dog's always like, they were happy with milk bones. I get myself a Rottweiler and it wants to eat my chairs. Like, why is my chair moving a little bit here?
You probably guilted it. Like, you'll be falling out of your chair in a second.
Right? Good God. So let's see here. I wanted to put up, I thought this was kind of sick and twisted. People, whoever it was that put Nicola Boulet's autopsy, is it? No,
I think it was they actually
removing
they filmed her being removed from the river.
Hairdresser Curtis Arnold, 34, made almost 1,000 pounds in royalties by posting the footage. There we go. That's the brainwave. Who does that shit? I'm not. Grade 1 barbers in Kidderminster, Warwickshire, has now been dubbed the word, whatever that is. Okay. However, Mr. Arnold says he no longer works here and added it's not fair to the owner. Can you take over for a second, friend? I'll just.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'll take that off. And if there's something, sorry, I'll just mute it.
Okay. So, well, I can't share a screen without Frankie letting me. But I guess some like hairdresser guy was at the scene when they found Nicola, and he filmed this and obviously posted it for profit. He's getting a pretty hard time, which personally, I mean, that's a little bit messed up to make. I mean, it's not just a little bit, it's really messed up to make money off of someone else's misfortune, but he did it, and I guess he got like a lot of backlash, but he didn't learn his lesson. He kept posting, and now he's getting more heat for it. At least that's how I understood the article, which I can't read because, well, actually I can. Duh. Least I could do is read it. They're calling him a TikTok ghoul. That's an interesting use of words for someone who shared a disgraceful video of police retrieving the body of Nicola Bully from the river. And he's continuing to share damaging slurs about the family. Well, that's a little messed up. Kidderminster, that's a hell of a last name. He's an amateur sleuth from Kidderminster, West Midlands. I wish Perry was here to like at least kind of let me know where these names come from.
Kidderminster, I think it's
Kidderminster, West Midlands. Yeah, that's where he's from. But I want to know what this curse is. This a curse word?
I'm wondering if that's what that is, because it's blanked out and something.
Yeah, I know someone can tell me what that is. I don't know what. I don't know of a curse word that starts with N. Well,
oh, it says here, dark past ghoul who filmed Nicola being found in the river is a fraudster who took pictures of. Okay, now I gotta see what that is. Some bitch.
that sounds
Bully ghoul. who filmed tragic mom
I
being
like that,
posted.
right? Ghoul, like who?
Oh, yes, cool. Yeah. Who tricked women into taking gym pictures?
Ew.
Oh, he's a twisted little shit.
Why isn't he in jail then?
He joined the press gathering. He duped cops for a social media video. He posted the grim footage of on several social media channels, including TikTok and YouTube. Arnold's sickening 8-minute clip sparked a wave of condemnation, but its near million views earned him almost $1,000 in royalties. And last night he told the Sun, yeah, perhaps it was a step too far, but I can't take it back.
Yeah,
Now
you can. You can donate that money you made.
Yeah, I think there's something said about that. We can now reveal Arnold is a narcissistic and manipulative con man with a string of criminal convictions, including burglary, fraud, drunk driving, and perverting the course of justice.
He sounds like a real winner.
Who runs a barbershop in Kidderminster, has a lengthy rap sheet going back to his early 20s and more recent fraud charges in 2018, for which he served jail time. He visited several gyms in the London area, posing as a fitness modeling agent. Oh my God. Who needed models to promote a firm's range of female leggings. Oh my God. He then took a series of sexualized photos and videos of women, which he shared on social media to sell on his own fitness products without their permission.
I think the only people that should ever promote any sort of women's leggings
is a woman.
Yeah, maybe I'm biased. I don't think that guy should be the spokesperson for women.
No, something tells me you're right. Oh my gosh. People, oh my God, that's you. Sorry, my supper just got here. Have I got you bleeped?
You got me bleeped?
Oh, no, if you heard me, you're not bleeped.
No.
I had to crinkle up that plastic super fast. Yeah, I don't know what that means, that word. Get out of there. Come on, you two.
I know. I wish Perry was around. I'd be like, Perry, what does this mean?
Yeah, what
Tell
does this
me.
mean? Yeah, because it's something derogatory, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ghoul.
Nietzsche.
Source in the prison said he was unpopular with the staff there. And the source said he was very narcissistic, manipulative individual, and would regularly try to manipulate female staff, especially education staff. He was slimy and would tell them they were beautiful or he preferred them over another officer. Oh, God.
Oh, those are a lot of ways to describe a person. Slimy.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. His past includes 6-month suspended prison sentence handed in March 2010 for perverting the course of justice and altering his car license plate. Breach of a suspended sentence for drinking and driving. The M6, it's a vehicle. The next month he pled guilty to receiving 2 registration plates from stolen vehicles. Same month, they heard Arnold broke into a house, garage in Kidderminster, and stole tools. He admitted burglary, although it's unclear what his sentence was. But amazingly, the 22-year-old avoided jail for the breach when a judge showed leniency because he was beginning to show signs of maturity by working hard and becoming a personal trainer.
Wow. If I go to prison, I want to go to prison in Britain. So
Right. Oh my God.
I'm
And it's
reformed. That's how we I'm reformed.
right. Right. 23-day search, and police conduct a probing. Oh, they get talking about the alcohol and the menopause and all that. Ooh, all that
Mm.
really, really important stuff. Yeah, like what the hell is that all about?
Do you think
What?
the cops failed her? Do you?
I think they may have failed the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they may have failed that family. If she was alive, well, and even so, I mean, they messed with her reputation to a certain point.
Yeah.
Most women are going to understand how menopause kind of throws
Mhm.
you off. Even if you haven't gone there yet, you hear a lot about it before you get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, menopause does not turn you into an alcoholic. That's not the way it works. Now, if you're an alcoholic, you might drink more because you're pissed off
Yeah.
more often or
Or
something.
whatnot are getting to you, but
Yeah, that's why I'll never go to a gym. Cringe.
I just
Absolutely.
don't see her doing that like to herself. Like if they ruled out a suicide, I just don't think.
That doesn't sound right to me at all.
No, it doesn't, especially because she did so many things that morning right before she disappeared.
Yeah,
That just suggests that that's not something that was on her mind. She set up a play date. She was in a work
absolutely.
call, like those things just don't add up to someone who
No.
was
And
planning on leaving.
I don't think if there's a lot of things that don't aim. She had her little dog with her. And I mean, kind of like Debbie Collier, is that the way you're going to pick? Probably not.
Yeah.
Especially if she had
Hi,
all sorts of
Perry.
meds. Can't see it. I think
Perry,
I'll go
can
with
you tell me what
Perry.
that
Yeah.
word is? It's supposed to be vulgar, I think. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I just don't believe that. Like
No.
women tend to do things differently. They don't want, I know, like if they do choose to go that route with suicide, it's a lot cleaner most of the times.
Most of them
They
take meds.
Yeah,
Or if they're
they'll do
really pissed off at
medication.
someone, they jump
They
off a
make
bed.
sure that the wherever it is that they're at is neat and things are taken care of because they don't want
Yeah.
their loved ones to have to just clean up or do what they need, whatever the case, right? Like
Yeah.
they just want to. I just don't think that she did that. Maybe it was an accident.
I could
I
see
could
an
go that
accident.
way, but
Mhm.
yeah, I just don't think it.
Now, a lot of people are saying that, she had been placed there after the fact. I mean, maybe, but that doesn't make any sense.
No,
You'll go get someone, unalive them, and then go put them back at the same place?
it doesn't make sense to me that she would have been taken because from the witnesses,
Mhm.
how they were apparently kind of within minutes of each other.
Mhm.
So to take someone out of that location, I would think like you would have to have walked past someone or someone would have heard something just from that
Mhm.
short window of time. That's really difficult.
Yeah, it
Um,
is. Yeah. Yeah. No muss, no fuss.
yeah, I don't know. That one's I am leaning towards it was maybe accidental, but I don't know.
That's kinda where I'm going with it too. It's kinda where, I mean, is there a possibility of foul play? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, even with the unaliving, that's not the way most. Hey, you 2. Jasmine, you're
Yeah,
not a
that's not the way they go.
oh my god.
Anyways.
Good lord. Yeah. And she had a whole bunch of meds to help her with her menopause. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm thinking too. Especially if she has, she was getting that brain fog, and I think I've said before that's basically what that is what I experience, and we are not at the top of our game. You could very easily, well, you get a little bit, you know that feeling when you're hungover and you're all like wobbly and you can't quite think straight, and that feeling. So you're off balance. It's like, yeah, you're off balance. You're not the greatest at remembering things. You're not the greatest at communicating things. So I see it could very easily, if she's dealing with any kind of brain fog, very easily could it be an accident. You know what? I don't drive. I refuse to drive when I've got it going on. It's too easy to make a mistake.
I mean, I know that little area there is steep though. So like I do also have questions. I'm always gonna have questions to be like, why would someone, if you have no need to be that close to the edge, why would you get that close to the edge? She could have, been a little bit lightheaded and like fell. But even then, like that steepness, even though it's so steep, you would still, it's ground, it's got some sort of
Something you can grab onto.
yeah, like I have also find it really hard to believe that she would just like fall all the way in and then
Yeah.
just drown like that. I
Yeah.
mean, because I would think like if you tripped and fell, like maybe your feet would dip in the water and you'd be like, oh shit, and you can get yourself back up.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
she hit
unless
her
she
head.
snagged
I
on
don't know.
something.
Like, I have no idea.
She,
Maybe she,
say she got snagged up on something. She fell in and she got snagged up. And
yeah,
uh-huh.
that would do it. That would be her falling all the way in.
Yeah.
And I also find that kind of hard to see someone falling all the way in when you're just standing still
Well,
because you don't have the momentum,
yeah.
but anything can happen, I suppose.
See, I could, yeah. It's like you say, there's not going to be answers. There's so many questions that we'll be lucky to find out exactly what happened with her, you know.
I was hoping for an update on her autopsy. I know that they said that there was like further review
Yep.
on it, and I was kind of hoping that they'd have that by now, but
Yeah, I checked it out and I didn't find anything.
yeah, I didn't find anything either. Just this weird ghoul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't know why this guy is getting headlines. Like that's not important. But that's all I saw on Google was just him. Like every single update about Nicola is this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. How'd she get over that thingamajig, though? They said she wouldn't have gone over it. What thingamajig?
I think from the way I understood it, it was she was upstream for it, so she would have gone over it. It's kind of like it looks like a small little like dam thing.
Yes, yes.
And that's how I understood it. I thought she was upstream from that and then came down. And if that's the case, yes, I think it's pretty easy for her to go over. But if that's like on the opposite side of her, then no, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
well, and there was sandbars she could have got kind of too. So, I mean, that's yeah. What was there like a 10-minute window between the
it was like super short. And even that, when I heard it, it was kind of confusing because the witness, the older man, he says that the woman who tied the dog up actually called his wife, that man's wife, and him and his wife were playing phone tag with each other because his wife is the one that told them to, hey, there's something strange going up there. Like, you should go up there. But like in the interview, when he's talking, he doesn't even mention like the dog being tied up. So I'm really confused by that. Like, I'm like, was the dog tied up? Was it not? Like,
I didn't think it was. I thought he tied it up.
yeah. I think it was the lady who did it. She just had freaking string in her pocket. I don't know who does that. What I mean, choose your weapon, right? We're like Mortal Kombat, like just like choose your weapon. Mine's gonna be tinsel. Like, so strange.
Sorry. With all that stuff that was going on with the Murdoch case, I lost. Oh my word, there was so much going on, and I was just way too tired. It was like, oh my goodness, I'm just gonna go sit down for a couple minutes, but I'll pop back on. Yeah, next week.
You're like 8 hours later. Like,
exactly like Michelle. And eternity.
That Murdoch case was really exhausting for me because I mean, I work during the day, so I would try to watch, but then I had to like mute out on a whole bunch of things and I missed out. So I'd have to like end up watching it later at night.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I was so over it.
So we have those here in wet codes. I don't know, especially in a slower, small current. I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was everything I've seen. It was not after that kind of dam-looking thing. I can't even remember what they call it.
And I did see a video of this guy. I guess he lives in the area. And as soon as the news broke out that, you know, she had gone missing, he immediately went out there and offered to help. But he went out there wherever the cops were not and was like filming. And in this video, he does mention that he's kind of surprised that he didn't see police in certain places. Like, that he feels like maybe they didn't do the right, like a good enough search.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah. Well, and then the cops are blaming it on the divers.
Yeah, scapegoat, right? Whoever that volunteer search group, whatnot. But if I understand them correctly, they said that they had sent them like a mile up away from her, like in the opposite direction. And they spent some time and and I do find it a little messed up. Like, he just says, like, we were told to search in the river and she wasn't in the river. Now they didn't tell us to search in the reeds. You're like, really, man?
Yeah.
But I do also understand like his equipment, like as he explains that doesn't look into reeds. But if the cops would have been walking that area, like on the side, could they have seen her? I don't know.
I don't know. She got stuck underneath.
Yeah.
And then as she starts to bloat, not to be graphic.
Right, but that's what happens, yeah.
And then she'll surface a bit. So, yeah, just a slow current, like Dandy said. And like Perry's saying, yeah, Nicola used to remove the dog harness. Did she not?
Very neat.
Or did she on the runs? Do you know that?
From the way they said they reported it, this was like a common thing that she would get to a certain area and like let her dog loose. But the dog always had the harness on. Because there's pictures of the dog with the harness on and not the actual leash on.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a bit neat though. Phone on bench and harness indicating towards the river. And then her dog not leaving that area makes me a bit curious.
I mean, there's several scenarios I can think of happening. Like, she's sitting there, something gets her attention, maybe someone on the other side of that little fence right there asking her for something or whatnot. She gets up and walks over, and
or just
that's
enjoying,
assuming that there's foul play involved. But
or even just enjoying the sound. Like I've walked right up to the edge, but person's got to be careful too when they deal with getting lightheaded like that.
And I mean, a common reaction to that is most people, when they get lightheaded, they tend to already set their hands down and kind of fall backwards. So, like, if she's standing there looking out into the river, she would have, like, start to feel a little bit maybe woozy and, like,
get down.
Put her hands, like, downwards behind her, kind of, like, towards her back, and then falling backwards to sit, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I mean, things happen. I wasn't there.
So what was the purpose of her removing the harness from the dog? I assume the leash was maybe in her coat pocket. Was the lead
Was the harness and the leash attached to each other?
Yeah.
Because I had the thought that maybe that she had gotten up to put the dog back on the leash, like attach the leash to the harness, and maybe she tripped and fell like towards the river and was holding on to the leash and then pulled the leash off with the harness from the dog, because the dog's trying to like fight in the opposite direction, and then it just comes off. But depends on the harness.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like it's a big dog. Like it's not like yours, right? Like your dog could pull us right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one. There's some red flags and some green flags.
I mean, I do hope that there is no foul play, you know, that it's just really it's a terrible thing regardless of what happened. I just hope that it wasn't malicious, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a family losing a member is bad enough, but then they lose them to violence or something.
Yeah.
You know, I can't imagine.
I don't know, Perry. Like, I thought I heard that the leash was there, which I thought was strange. If I am correct about that, like if the leash was there, I found it really strange that somebody would tie up the dog with a freaking string. Regardless of why are you carrying string in your pocket, and that's just so strange.
Random.
It is random, but whatever. People do what they do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I imagine some of the things a person finds in my pocket is like, what the hell? But I don't like to litter, so I end up with all sorts of stuff in my pocket.
Like last year's Cheeto, an old French fry.
Oh yeah, exactly.
A Monopoly puzzle piece.
Totally random.
Why do you have these things, woman? Like, I don't know.
So, what would ever possess a person to go down and videotape something like that, let alone share it?
I don't know. It's the world we live in. It's digital. Everybody knows they can make money off of something.
And
that's a simple explanation. I don't know.
But I think it's accurate. Yeah, everyone's like, Frankie, Google it. Oh, yeah.
I forget about Google sometimes, you know. As much as I use that, I really do forget about it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be asking my boyfriend, I'm like, hey, what's that thing? You know, he's like, you're sitting right in front of a computer with a whole bunch of tabs open. Like, look it up.
Yeah. My son, Mom, geez, Google. Okay, I'll remember. Dictionary.
Oh, that's interesting, Perry. Can you post that? Oh, I'd like to read up on that, actually.
There's a case where a woman shouted at a cyclist who was on the pavement. The cyclist fell in and the woman was convicted of manslaughter. Could a similar accident have occurred at the campsite? Do you know what? I can see that. You know, say you are standing there, even, kind of looking at the scenery, and someone scares you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be like, and we get a lot of these in the United States. People like to be on the water, and around here, you can go floating. You can,
Mm-hmm.
there's bridges to jump off of, cliffs to dive.
Yep.
And people have been convicted with manslaughter for, like, their friend is just sitting on the bridge, like overlooking the water or whatnot, just admiring the view, and their friend comes up behind them and like pushes them in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they manslaughter.
My goodness, Jazzy. No. A friend of mine, we were all sitting at the dock, and you kind of sit with your feet over and chit-chatting, and this one friend was like pretending he was going to push me in, and I'm like, don't do it. Like, I swim like a rock, man. Like, and he thought that was funny. So he pushes me in, and I'm going glub, 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 glub. He had to jump in and come get my sorry butt out of there. I just sunk.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, I can't swim for anything. You might as well put like rocks in my pocket because it'll just make it easier in my life. But
I've heard about that before.
I would never put myself in like a situation like that where I just sit on a bridge. I have no problem sitting on a bridge overlooking water. I have no problem with that. I know how to sit. Like, but I would never surround myself with people that would do that to me, like, because they know that you can't swim, that's dangerous. Like,
well,
they have common sense.
Yeah. And I think some people, just when you say I can't swim, they just don't believe it.
Right.
Like, you've lived around water how long then? Yeah, I don't swim. No. And pools are just gross.
I'm too old to learn to swim. And see, here's the thing. I get the concept of swimming. I think my body's just not made for it. Like, I get in the water.
Very good at the doggy paddle.
I've tried all of them. I can do the thing underwater, where you just like hold your breath and you kind of like do a couple swims, come up, get some air, come back down. But I get nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that snorkeling was easy.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, because all you have to do is sink.
See, like, weirdly, oddly enough, I might be okay with like diving. Like, if you gave me like the full with the oxygen, I'd be okay diving. I would be. Like, could you let's do it? I can sink. Vamos. Be trying to walk my way through the bottom of the ocean, looking at things.
Turn into a moon man.
Yeah.
So Nicolette Bully, now Brian Walsh, him and his thieving little butt. Wow. I was looking at some of the stuff that he's been up to in his life, and he's a scoundrel.
Yeah, prior to Nicola, or prior to Anna. Yeah.
And during.
Yes.
And during. He's not really a great guy.
No.
Isn't that? Yeah.
That dude's gonna fry, They might not be able to find Anna. Man, they have so much evidence on this guy.
Oh, and they probably don't need it. They probably.
Oh man, and I don't mean to laugh. It's just that this guy is such a. Oh my god.
Oh, he's a twit.
A twat.
Yeah, he's one of those too. Oh my goodness. And I mean, like a stupid criminal. Stupid.
Yes. Yeah. And this is probably why this is probably like his one and only crime. It's terrible freaking crime. But
Well, he's got all that thieving, all those fake Andy Warhols on eBay. Like, oh,
you know what? I'm laughing at the person who bought the Andy Warhol.
off of
Why
eBay.
in the world did you think that you were gonna get an Andy Warhol on eBay?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. I got it on eBay.
It's like walking up to Sunday's morning garage sale. And you're like, is that an Andy Warhol for $2?
Right?
I'll take it.
25 million? Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
I wonder how much. I didn't look. I wonder how much they're worth. Like a shit ton.
They're pricey. They're in the thousands of dollars if it's original.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand his work.
He must have been good at his conning. Like he must have been a really good con artist.
Mhm.
Anna seemed like a very smart woman.
That's the thing. Well, which makes me think she had to know about a lot of this stuff. I don't think a lot was going to slide by her.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Murdoch. Like he was doing all these things. Are we to believe that Maggie had no idea, or that she actually knew about all of it?
I think she had a clue.
Paul's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend,
that gave that interview.
Yes, told a story about how crashed the truck one day after a Christmas party, and she tried calling 911, but Paul took her phone and threw it, and his parents showed up. So Alec, Maggie, and I think Grandpa showed up too.
Yeah.
And they cleared out the vehicle before anything else, and then reprimanded her for calling 911. She could have ruined their son's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they're scaring all the deer. They're just like wandering down the street and
so
jazzy.
I do kind of think Maggie knew. She had to have known. He was writing checks in her name, like to her account. Like,
yeah. I have very little doubt that she knew a good percentage of it.
Yeah.
I mean, can a person sneak around? Yeah. But can you take
for how long?
Yeah, exactly. And if she didn't know, well, I think that would mean she put her head in the sand. Because
you think it's like I'm benefiting as long as the kids are happy, I'm happy kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I don't think so, Perry. I think she was a housewife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was a housewife. She liked to, what did he say? Maggie didn't work, but she did all of the work. She took good care of the family, and she did this and she did that. So, yeah, I don't think so. The one brother, John Marvin, he got into heavy equipment, and then Randy, which is very interesting because he was not in that courtroom often.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and he's the other lawyer.
No. Yeah, he's the one that's still part of the firm.
Yes. Yeah. And you watch that one. I had hope for John Marvin. I did. I was like, oh, like, are you the decent Murdoch? And then he gets up there and he lies. And it's like, oh, damn. Like, the poor parents. I mean, I'm sure that's probably where they learned it, is the dad. Well, let's just blame it on the dad, not the mom. But I don't know. A lot of lawyers have a certain something about them that they think that they're entitled. I don't say all lawyers, of course not, but I have found that a lot do feel a little superior. So do a lot of dentists for that.
They do.
Mhm.
They do. I mean, I talk to a lot of lawyers, like in my job, and they are kind of like that. They're a little bit snarky.
Yep. Yep. A little bit high, thinking they're a little bit higher and mightier. Cleared out the guns and the alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
When all of those guns were leaving the house, they were not going hunting. I don't give two shits what they say.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different story. Like, and what Perry is talking about is the car accident that Paul and his girlfriend got into. That's what they did. The mom, dad, and grandpa showed up, took all the guns out of the truck because he had a whole bunch of freaking guns in the truck.
Yeah.
Took out all alcohol.
All the booze. Yeah.
But then, there's actual drone footage of Mr. What's his name again? The young one. Paul? Well, there's Buster, and then there's the young uncle, the guy you were just talking about.
Oh, John Marvin.
Yeah.
Randy and then John Marvin. Yeah.
Yeah, and they took out a whole bunch of guns. You don't need all those guns for hunting. You don't.
Yeah.
They also took a tote of something.
Okay.
That looked rather light. Like it wasn't heavy. You could tell it wasn't heavy by the way they lifted and put it in the vehicle.
Maybe clothes or something.
And then they picked up the dog from the kennel.
How odd. Can you imagine growing up in a family knowing that you can pretty much get away with anything you want?
That's what makes me think that this was like a family business thing.
Yeah.
The brothers know. They knew. I find it hard to believe that the brother who worked at the place, at the law firm, that he didn't know. Apparently, Randy is the first person who called Stephen Smith's family after the coroner.
Yep. You betcha. And him and Alex showed up, just like at the hospital. Walking around with that badge hanging in his pocket.
I really do feel like it was a family business, and even Randolph Murdaugh, the older, I think they were all into something.
Well, I kind of get that idea. Well, hello, Clifton.
Hi, Clifton.
Yeah. John Marvin is a weird one. Did he turn up with the sheriff? Said his truck broke down.
See, Mr. John Marvin has some explaining to do because he's the one that picked up the boat.
Yes, he is.
The boat crash.
Yes, he did.
Went down there. Mallory's parents weren't allowed to go down there to see the scene, but
John
him and Maggie apparently just drove right through the crime tape and picked up the boat and took it. And
well, there's no repercussions when you run the county.
And he's the one that was calling the detective who showed up at the hospital to question everyone. He was calling him within minutes of him showing up to the hospital. He was already calling him.
Unreal. It does remind me of that show, that Ozarks.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it reminds. No, you two. Oh my God, sit down. Sit down. Yeah, it really does. Like the crap that they have gotten into, even in their lifetime, let alone the grandparents and the.
I think one of the great grandfathers was like what do they call those guys? A boot, a liquor.
Yeah, bootlegger. I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he ended up having to resign from his job because
Unreal.
he was selling liquor on the side.
Yep. Yep. Well, with that said, that was a pretty common thing there back.
Right. Yeah, I can't be mad at that one.
But yeah, I mean, when people are all judgmental, you would expect them to be a little bit more on point than all of that. Yet the grand wizard.
I always felt like Alex had to have learned that from somewhere.
Yes.
You know, like,
and the other boys as well.
Yeah.
You know,
and it would make sense, like, that his dad and his grandfather and his grandpapa and his poppy all did the same thing. But I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
It seems like a generational thing.
It's a learned something. I just find like,
well,
you're not just a lawyer. Then one day you're like, oh, you know what? I can steal millions of dollars from this person. Like, how do you figure that out?
Well, and where do you get the desire? You know, like I said to you, like, they're out there ripping off those boys, say Gloria's boys.
Yeah, teenagers.
Young.
He was ripping off teenagers, and like,
well, the not so much. The son's 33.
Well, no. Like, I'm talking about like other crimes that he did too. Like,
other cases. Yes.
Yeah, a teenager. She was maybe like 16, 17. She got into a car accident.
Yep.
He ripped off one of the cops from his accident. This has been going on since like 2011 or something. Like,
and I believe it's gone on longer.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's gone on longer. What, 10 years? For how long does a business have to keep any kind of records? I don't think he just decided at the age of...
a law firm would keep the records forever because they need to.
Okay. Yeah, I never really thought about that as far as how long that they would...
A business might not, but even businesses, like, because I've called up my car, like, I owned it forever, but I'd never gotten like they have to send you like a lease thing, like a release of lease thing. And I'd never gotten it. And like, this was like 10 years later. I was like planning on selling the car. And like, I called them up and they're just like, yeah, here it is. We'll email it. I'm like, thanks. So they do keep it for a certain amount of time. But like, I would assume like law places.
Yeah.
Any kind of law firm will keep your records forever. Because.
Okay. That makes sense. And then where do they go when their lawyer is gone? Wonder where that paperwork goes.
I mean, if the law firm still us, then they might keep it, you know?
I thought Cheech was going to have a heart attack a couple times there. I literally did. When Alec was on the stand, I was like, oh, like, they just both kept their head down. Like, yeah, nothing happening over here. It blew me away.
Like I said earlier, it was a lot of cringe for me.
Yep.
Yep. I personally, and let's keep this between just us guys, okay?
Okay.
But I have heard a few people feel this way. I personally don't feel like the prosecution.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Prove their case without a reasonable, doubt. I don't think that, but I also know how I feel. I'm not on anyone's side. I do think this guy is guilty.
Well, that's the thing.
Just, when it comes to the law and, all of that stuff, I don't think that the prosecution did prove that without a reasonable doubt. And I do worry a little that maybe the jury brought in personal feelings. That 3-hour verdict is...
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
It surprised the hell out of me. I thought that it was going to take at least till today, at least.
They had something like that. It was only 45 minutes or something like that.
It only took them 45 minutes, but then for whatever reason, they, took
probably had
the
a
other
coffee
remaining 2
around.
hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they just kind of, but I mean, I've seen it before in and out, even with the Jinx. I mean, in and out, but it was so obvious.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. So if Alex never would have taken the stand, I think he would have had a way better chance of possibly coming out with a not guilty verdict. But that dude freaking literally drove that ship into the
Oh, oh my goodness.
he
That
sunk
was,
it to the abyss of
oh, it's true. It's true. But the fact that he was arrogant enough
Oh,
to do
yeah.
it did not surprise me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me
And
if he wanted
I
to get
mean, here's the thing, like, personally for me, like, I cannot, and I can say this because I did watch the case. I haven't rewatched the whole thing, but I'm getting close to it. They haven't put the gun in his hand for me. Like, they didn't prove that. They haven't proved it. But I also know whether he pulled the trigger or not, I'm convinced 100% that he is complicit
Yeah.
in this.
In my mind, I don't think two people could keep their mouths shut. Once there's more than one person, I generally think that
Yeah, I mean,
someone's
two
going to
people can
admit.
keep a secret if one of them is dead, and who's to say that the other person isn't dead?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he did screw himself, dandy. Narcissism took over common sense,
Yeah.
because common sense tells you don't, and he knows he's a lawyer, for crying out loud.
And that's another thing. I feel also, and I'm not on nobody's side, and I do
Oh,
think he's guilty, but that's
Mhm.
another thing. Like him being a lawyer and him having like all this experience, like why couldn't he come up with a better lie? Like he could have just simply said, "Yeah, I was there, and
Mhm.
then I was up there. I took the chicken out of the dog's mouth, and then I immediately left." And then
That's
you
what.
leave it up to your, defense team and then the prosecutors to come up with the story of what
Mhm.
actually happened. But he lied.
Well, he lied, and his footprints, his phone, everything put him there. And there
Was he
was,
not thinking about that? Like, I mean, if he's so smart, if that maybe it's the drugs. Maybe he really was like that messed up on drugs that he
or
didn't.
that narcissistic. If he's that narcissistic,
Because even the prosecution asked him, and they're like, "Oh, you've never dealt with a case where you had to get cell phone data and this data? Like, you didn't know that that was going to exist?" And he was just
you
like,
know what?
"Well, blubbering through it, but it's
I
true.
don't,
Like, bro,
I
like,
don't think he did know everything that was going to be on those phones, because
so
it
why did
sure.
he lie about it? Like,
I think he thought he could get away with it. I really do.
he would have had a better chance of getting away with it if he didn't lie about that."
Yeah. He went straight into bullshit. The first vehicle that showed
Yeah.
up, that very first cop, right away, 911, he started. There's no explaining that. There's just no explaining that. And then saying basically in a 4-minute window, is I think what they have it kind of whittled down to, that he left the two midgets with guns.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh my goodness. They,
Oh my god, that guy is so like old school South, like ignorant that I just like
yeah, right? It's just like, it doesn't make sense in that little tiny window.
Can it happen? Absolutely. I've seen crazier things. I mean, look at the Ramsey case.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was in the home and this little girl like died.
Yep.
Nobody knows what happened. Like
Yep.
It's absolutely possible that he literally could have been like, yeah, we're at the kennels. I took the chicken out and I left.
Yeah.
And as soon as he turned that corner, freaking masked men like showed up and just shot up his wife and kid. Is it possible? Yeah, but
Yeah, bad criminal.
yeah,
Too much confidence in his abilities and what people think of him around that area. Too long in that kind of circle. They won't look that hard, or they'll cover my ass, or I'm too smart. Whatever the case is, whatever. Oh my word! Get back there. Get.
his goose was cooked.
Yeah, he cooked his goose.
Mm.
He burnt his goose. He walked into the trap lying about why he didn't admit being there to the jury. It was game over.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. The whole kennel thing sunk him. From immediately, the first cop that shows up, he's like he's spewing bullshit. And from there, all the way through. And I get lies turning into a roller coaster story.
Yeah.
But with that said, don't make the first lie, and you don't have to bury anything. You don't have to just don't be a murderous lying asshole that produces way too much mucus.
Man.
Yeah, totally. 3 things I don't like: lying, stealing, and mucus.
I don't know. I also had a really hard time with his attorneys. I feel like could have done a better job for him. And I know we've chatted about this. Like, they should have objected a lot more.
They just put their heads down and
yeah, I think they were defeated like halfway through, and
you'd even see Cheech. He would be saying, I like watching I don't know, it's Law & Crime, I think it's called, but I like watching it for their updates because they've got 3 camera views. So you get to see kind of what the defense is doing, and Cheech, the expressions on him, like he would just look over
his feelings, like, honestly.
Oh yeah, just look over like, oh no.
And poor Champ, he must have like ate like 7 pens or something throughout the whole trial. I feel bad for the guy. And then he like stuttered the whole way through closing arguments. I just
Oh, that was a disaster.
It was so hard to watch because, and I know like justice is served and all that, but it's really hard to watch somebody's life just
burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very sad. Like, it's like you said earlier, it's not an exciting moment.
Yeah.
The only pleasure that I get is the fact that will not happen ever again.
Yeah.
I
do get satisfaction from that, that you won't ever.
But at the same time, watching any person sink and watching the families like go from, it's the kids.
Yeah. I feel if Buster is completely innocent from everything, I really do feel bad for this kid.
Yeah.
He's got to carry on that name, and that name is
dirt.
Forever trash.
Yep. Yeah.
And he lost his whole family. Like,
But with that Stephen Smith, like I was watching some of that today, and everyone says, and I mean, this is, as we all know, as we're sitting here together, us group, everything we say is speculation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it sounds like we're saying it as fact, it's just what we.
Oh, these are just all personal opinions, my feelings, how I think. I'm just trying to think my way through it because.
Well,
I don't know how to feel. Like, I feel really bad for them. I do think he's guilty. I know he's guilty. of a lot of things.
Well, and then, oh my God, Dandy, what was that she said the other day? Liar, liar, redhead on fire. I was like, oh.
It's what are those? It's a tragic tale, and you know we've all watched that movie that you think that's going to be really good, and it is really good, but you end up being like, damn, that freaking sucks. Like,
Deep. That is so deep.
yeah, and I feel bad. I do. Like, you could see it through the trial. Like Alex's
Are you
whole
kidding?
demeanor changing like day by day, and you're just like, holy shit! Like his life is literally over. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Did you do that? I see now you did that. Give it to me. So I don't know if I said this before, but Lizzie now has decided, like, if there's something on the floor, she knows that if she brings it to me, she's going to get a cookie.
yeah, she works for food.
Yeah. But now what she does, she takes stuff off of my tables, brings it to me looking all proud. Like, yeah.
You're like, no, only from the floor, okay? If it's on the floor, then
Exactly. Look what I got. Yeah, I don't know if Buster isn't busted by his dad.
yeah.
Yeah, like everything that I watched on Stephen Smith today and just in the past, Buster's name is always there.
Yeah.
Always. A couple of times they say the Murdoch boys, but Buster's name is so. Was there possibly a relationship? So people just assumed that there was this. I don't know. And then you and I were both saying we're not finding Stephen's paperwork. It was out there, so it's got to still be there somewhere because they were showing it on other broadcasts from before. Right?
His is it's definitely foul play. I mean, with Stephen Smith, and if all this led like recordings always mention Buster.
Yes. Everything. So yeah. I mean, maybe they just had the relationships with everybody.
They say that like Stephen, because he was a really smart kid, so I guess he was like tutoring Buster or something, or like he was helping him with stuff. And you know,
yeah,
when kids are like that age and in school, people,
oh, it's bizarre.
Kids are evil, because they're gonna say and you know, spread rumors and think what they want to think and just say it out loud. But
well, I remember when I was a teenager, everybody said that this one guy screwed sheep. No, it was goats.
That's how you get syphilis.
And
we would cheat, goat, same.
Yeah, and it's like people believed it at that age. It was like, no. So this poor guy for like years went around for years with that reputation that he did those things with barn animals. It's like,
that's a horrible reputation to have.
Yeah.
But you know how I say, like, everything comes from like some sort of stem of truth. Like,
oh my word.
Oh man, poor guy.
Perry. Children are badgers. Oh yeah. I even remember that guy's name. I'm not going to say it, of course, but I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, let's not make them relive harsh memories.
Oh, no. Or have people believing that crap. It's like, but in grade 8 and 9, it's like, no way.
Hey, but we do know it's a true story. It is a true story. Science, guys. You know, syphilis. You know syphilis. That's where it comes from. Sheep and shit.
Oh my God. sheep and shit.
Oh man. But I don't know. Maybe it also has something to do with the condoms that they made back in the day, made out of sheepskin and intestines and whatnot.
Ew.
Yeah. Hey.
Ew. Oh, that wasn't in my lifetime.
Times were fun.
That was just nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, not a good time to be living. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. But that was way, way back in the day. Like,
Unreal.
Medieval kings and queens.
Honey, I think you need to go kill us a sheep.
For a year's worth of meat and a year's worth of condoms.
Honey, you want to go kill a sheep tonight?
How do you get your partner in the mood?
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever it is, we're not smoking it together. I can tell you that.
I was just wondering the same thing, Dandy. I'm like, this is really like we're having one of our conversations, but we're sharing this. Can you believe this? No. What y'all smoking?
I'm glad I don't live back in those days, I've been like, you're not putting that anywhere near me.
Oh, right?
Don't touch me with that thing.
Well, no wonder they had like 14 freaking kids.
Because they didn't have anything else to do. Now we have TV and internet and stuff, so we have distractions. Back in the day, they were bored.
Hell no.
They got all their work duties done early in the morning, and then they just had the rest of the day to play.
Yes, go kill those barn animals so they can like have SPX for the next week. Have you ever tried a chicken, honey? It might be a little easier. Might be the right size. I need a goat.
Dandy said, I'm gonna go wring a chicken's neck. You want to snuggle later?
Oh my god.
It's Friday, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a long week. The first 5 days after the weekend are always the hardest. So.
Right. Oh, well, sad. I honestly, I think I've said it, but Pullum? That's fascinating, Perry. What have I missed?
Pullum?
Marijuana?
Pullum, but that just sounds like that's another contraceptive. What is it?
Contraceptive?
There you go.
How do we go from crime stories, screwing
I have no idea.
On a crime channel. I'm gonna go wring a chicken's neck. You want to snuggle later?
Welcome to ADD, guys.
Yeah, and I possibly have family watching tonight. Oh, well, they know me.
My dad's going to call me later, and he's going to be like, you better go say 10 Hail Marys and 10 Our Fathers. I'm going to go do that right now.
Yeah, my mother would be, exercise her. She's been a bitch since the day she was born. Mama. Okay, you too, Jazz. Oh, they're pushing me into like
I just killed a man.
So if the family is watching, hi.
Yeah, you know what you raised. I'm a product of my environment.
Oh, I wish they were my environment when I was younger. Would have been a lot more pleasant.
Oh, you would have had a grand old time. You would have been fed well. Breakfast, lunch,
Mhm.
and dinner.
Yeah. Didn't turn into Cinderella. Cinderella, Cinderella. Unreal. So, well, that's where Brian Walsh led us. Well, isn't that interesting?
Brian Walsh. Talking about that guy. He's gonna fry. That's why we got here, right? That's how we got here. So
Yep.
Brian Walsh is gonna fry with or without Anna being found because
Oh, yeah.
the digital evidence.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Come on,
You're an
kidding.
idiot.
Yeah. It blows me away what these people. Look at BTK. There's another one. He thinks he's an absolute brainiac, and he is. But he gives himself just a little bit on the arrogant side. So he gets a hold of the cops and says, so if I send you a floppy disk, be honest with me now, but if I send you a floppy disk, will you be able to trace it? And I'm like, and how long did you get away with that?
And you know what? He was mad that they lied to him about it. That's what he was mad about.
Yep.
Yeah. That guy is interesting. I hadn't really looked into him till
wonky donkey here.
Actually, like right before the whole Moscow murders, like the night prior, I had watched like a whole documentary on BTK, and then those kids got killed, and I was like, oh man,
yeah,
it's weird. Sounds like BTK.
Oh, I mean, they can. Ted Bundy did that, and what's his face? There's that other one that went into the sorority houses, cook them like a kettle chip.
The big guy.
Yeah, there's him as well.
Emperor.
Yeah, yep, there's him as well. So I don't know who he's the most like, because really he did. Yeah, Rowlands, exactly.
Rowlands, yes, that guy.
Danny Rowlands.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing. Like, they just, for some reason, it's like their ego puts them where they think that they are now able to, I don't know, turn invisible, or they're not good criminals.
But even they know that, because I'm actually really astonished by Ed Kemper specifically, because I think he, out of all of the serial killers ever who's been interviewed, is the one that's like the most sincere.
Yeah.
Is that even like right? Like, I don't even, he's the most sincere. Like, he actually recognizes what his issues are, and
yeah,
he explains them perfectly. He knows where it all went wrong. He knows why he is the way he is. And that's just even more terrifying to me.
I think he's one that did a lot of self-analyzing.
Yes.
And really was willing to look down deep and see what the issue was with him.
And if you weren't a serial killer, like, I would really, really admire that. Like, I'd be like, wow, it's amazing. Good for you. Like,
yeah.
But the fact that you are a serial killer and you have that, like, ability to do that, to self-reflect, and you know what's wrong with you and where it all went awry, like, that's freaking frightening.
It is. Yeah. And Dandy, you're right. Like, I don't know if it's because of the population, but you guys have, like, I don't even look at the Canadian stuff, which is, nobody wants to look at it, first off. And secondly, it's like the shit that happens in the US is like, what? It's very sad. the amount of school shootings blows me away.
No,
Or guns in the school. You know, it's like
that one kind of really does bother me.
Just isn't there.
I mean, serial killers, I mean, they're not out there using weapons like guns. Like, they're literally killing, like, not a lot of them. Like, most of them are doing it in their own unique household item way.
Yeah.
But school shootings to me are kind of
that's scarier than shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we're putting everything that we love is in our children. And we should be able to send that gift to school safely. We should be able to, when they started putting metal detectors on school doors, it was like, are you freaking kidding me? And they were just starting to do that just as I was getting out of school. They were starting to do that in kind of the rougher schools in the city, you know, where they send the difficult children, those schools that, so yeah, it's like, oh my God. And now Canada, knock on wood, we do not get many of those. Thank God. But the US, it is almost daily that there's at least a gun in a school. Might not have done anything, but it's either in the locker or it's someone caught them.
I don't know how to explain that. Like,
I
mean, I do know how to explain that, but it's a people problem, to be honest. It
is. And I honestly think in the US, it's a gun thing. They're so easy to get. I mean, they're also, I think, relatively easy to make. So, I mean, but then the person would have to put the work into it instead of going to the store and buying it. And I'm not like, I don't care about who's got guns and who doesn't, but it's the only factor that I can come up with.
It gets to be a problem where a person wants to own a gun because the idiot next door owns a gun. Exactly. And so you're like, I need to protect myself from that idiot next door who has a freaking gun. Like, and once that cascades, and I think you get a lot of people that maybe don't know what it is that they're handling or doing, or and then you have the people that do know what it is that they have, but they're just freaking idiots about it. Like,
well, and I remember I went to Lake Havasu one year. A friend was working there, and him and his girlfriend were doing something. So I ended up going for a ride with one of his friends on his Harley. And I remember meeting up with my friend and his girlfriend, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to lock this up. And there was a freaking gun in his side bag. I'm like, oh, I'm not used to seeing that. It was like, it scared me. I don't like guns. I do not like guns.
Oh, I grew up in Texas. I'm used to having them.
Yeah.
Being around them. There's one behind my door. There's a shotgun behind my door, like in my home, my childhood home.
Yeah.
And I own a weapon. I don't use it. It's seriously still in its case. It just sits in its case the whole entire time.
Yeah. What is the population in London, Perry?
London.
It's so great. Yeah, and I don't have I'm just not used to it. Oh, it's so rare. Yes.
It's like a terrible situation with these like school shootings, like these little babies, like people are going out and getting like vests, like these like bulletproof freaking things that you can put in your backpack. Or parents are getting like blood tablets for their kids to carry around and put in their mouth. Like,
Yeah.
if there ever is a school, like, just that idea right there, if you happen to come across a school shooting, that's so messed up to think that there's such a high rate of that, that it's absolutely possible that you're going to experience that in your lifetime going to school. Like,
isn't that a scary situation?
I think that's bullshit. Like, I think it's freaking, I don't know.
I homeschooled. I was working in the oil field. So I was in an area that was a lot rougher than I'm ever comfortable having my kid around. So I homeschooled him for 4 years maybe. And that's probably what I would do in some of these places where it's so predominant.
I just hate that, like, as a parent, that's something that you have to teach your kids these days. Like, being aware. Like, as an adult, you learn to be aware of your surroundings, right? Like, you look around like, you get out of the car, you look around. And before you walk in your house, you look around. Like, it's constant. You know that these things can happen, but, like, to teach a child that, I think is beyond. That's not right. That's not how kids should be growing up. They should be happy and stress-free and, like, no worries. Like, that's how I grew up. Like, why?
Exactly. Yeah, it didn't even enter my mind when I was younger that
these things could happen.
No.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, and I don't know if that is the difference. I mean, they make their own weapons. That's what I've seen. I think I even showed you a picture of that one.
Yeah.
That was in the paper. And it's like, what the hell is that?
I mean, if you know how to make a potato gun and just know how to crank up the velocity on it, you can make a weapon. It's lethal.
Yeah, I can't make a potato gun.
Those are the first steps.
Now, I'm pretty damn efficient with a squirt gun or a squirt bomb.
But I do think that this is just, like, a horrible time to be living in. Like, the fact that you even have to put metal detectors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In a school, in an elementary school, middle school, whatever. Like, that's.
Yeah. Well, I come from a hunting family, so a person would think that I would be comfortable. But as everybody knows, I've seen a couple of things in life that just make me not like. What bothers
me? Peel a potato.
Exactly. I'm with you, Perry. And I don't even do that very well. I usually end up cutting my finger.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I haven't even got that handled.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, with the different things that these people are overdosing on, and it used to be, I have to take something for my stomach. It's just, you buy it at the pharmacy. It's cheap. It's like for car sickness. And for the longest time, they took that off the shelf and put it behind where the pharmacy was, because they were making meth using Gravol. It's like a motion sickness med. It just takes nausea away. And somehow they were using Gravol along with cleaning products, I would imagine, to make these. And it's like, what would ever in a million years make you want to smoke or ingest in any way cleaning fluids?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, Frosty. You tell me.
Frosty.
But right now in the US, there's something called like a zombie drug.
I seen that. Isn't that gross?
It's a freaking animal tranquilizer that people are injecting into themselves,
Yeah.
and it's eating away at their skin and limbs, like, immediately.
Well
It's not
said.
even, like, a thing that you have to be on for, like, years. It's, like,
Yeah.
immediately causing damage.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they're interviewing people that are on this, and they're like, "Well, the doctors told me that I could lose my legs." And, like, no, there's not that you could. You will.
You will.
You will. If you
They'll
continue
still
on
get
this
into
road,
it.
you're going to lose your limbs. Like,
Oh my God.
it's I don't know what's wrong with the world, man. Like, I wish I could fix it, but, like, I
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
idea. Like,
And I
these
mean,
things stress me out.
it used to be when I was growing up to find out that somebody's family member was addicted to something. It was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And now it's like, yeah, well, I got a cousin or a brother or a sister or an aunt or an uncle. We all end up dealing with it in some way.
Yeah, second
You know?
hand, third hand, but one way
Yeah.
or another.
I lived in this one town and we only lived there for maybe 2 years, possibly 3. And in that time, I lived there when I was younger. So I did know a fair amount of people there, but us being there in that short time, people that I used to go to school with or I knew were addicted, and a good percentage of them were dying. And it's like, Flakka, that's the stuff, Dandy. Flakka, is it not?
That stuff that I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it might be like some version of that. Like, all I know is that it's a animal tranquilizer and they're calling it a zombie drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're
Unreal.
mixing it with fentanyl. Jesus
Yes.
Christ. I just
Yeah. Yeah. It's totally amazing. And I mean, when I was growing up, well, even up until the last few years, and still you guys have to deal with it in some states, but it was marijuana, or mushrooms. I mean, there's a couple heavier stuff when you get a little bit older, but nothing like they talk about or do now. Be good.
Yeah, what happened to the good old days when you can trust your drug dealers, to give you the good stuff?
But it's amazing what
People are doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a documentary of
I'm gonna go to the party tonight. Yeah, I'll grab the
which,
pints.
by the way, like, blows my mind because, like, this is like a Netflix thing or something. They do a documentary where they're literally interviewing drug dealers
Mm-hmm.
with drugs in front of them.
Right?
And I'm like, hello, cops. Hi. But these guys, even when they're cutting their snow, just call it snow.
Yeah.
And they're cutting it with fentanyl. They have like 4 layers of gloves on, 3 masks on. Like, they even know that it's dangerous. Most drug dealers don't actually touch their drugs.
Not a good one.
They're
Not
sober. Like,
oh yeah, you're not going to make money if you use your own product. That's just like.
And even these guys, and it just kind of blows my mind. Like, they know what they're doing. They know what they're getting into because look at the protection that they're taking to even sell the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll let like some, and excuse my language, junkie take a little taste just to see if it's gonna kill you or not.
Yeah.
And then they sell it. Like,
yeah. Or degrade it or No, that's the way they, even a lot of different gangs throughout the world, they don't use their product. And I know of a few that as soon as you do, you're kind of like gone, because the last thing they need is, when you're creating and selling this stuff, last thing you need is a junkie to blow your cover.
Yeah, be dead on your doorstep.
Yeah. Yeah. Or get talking too much.
Yep.
You know, which I don't know. That at one point was pretty common.
It's just that's a whole different mentality. Those are people that really have no regard for human life.
There
Whatsoever.
just seems to be more and more of those as time goes on.
Yeah.
That really don't give two shites. It's yeah. And it's so easy to get them. Like it's so easily, and everything's so addictive. It's like, what? Yeah, I was born in the 60s. Oh my God, the 80s is all I have to say about that. I know I was there.
I was born in the 80s.
Hey?
All I know about the 80s is the horrible fashion choices.
Oh, the hair.
The colors. But it's making a comeback. You know what? I like those colors now. Like those like really ugly, what are they, like windbreaker jackets?
Yeah.
Literally break nothing.
Yeah.
Other than your eyes.
A lot of things have come back over, things I got rid of when I was in my teenage years, early 20s. The one thing I will never, ever, ever miss is having to lay down on a bed, grab a hanger, hook it onto the zipper of my pants to get them up. I will.
You did those things?
That's the 80s for you. Yeah, that's the 80s. It's
I do wonder how people breathed back then. Like, I was like, how do you breathe?
But you know what? You got so used to it.
Like,
oh yeah, there's all sorts of things.
All the way snickered up.
Breathe. Like it's just, but yeah, that was the style. Hair that stood like 4 inches off your head. Yeah.
It's like one thing I like can never get out of my memory is the smell of hairspray.
Mm-hmm. Oh, lots of hairspray.
As soon as you smell it, you're like, you just get flashbacks. What? With the high ponytail to the side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And the ugly scrunchie.
Oh yeah, the high-waisted pants. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. The 90s, I was a mom through the 90s. So I didn't do as much as I did previously.
I was breaking shit in the 90s.
Oh my God. Yeah, the 80s, Jane Fonda.
Aquanet, yes, that freaking hairspray, man. You could smell it for miles. You're like,
yeah, Aquanet. Oh, like some of it was just like it turned your hair into, you weren't moving it. It didn't matter if you were in a tornado. It was like, yeah, this shit ain't moving. When I went to Texas that one time, and all those
Texas big hair. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, and they had those locusts, and they got stuck in my 80s hairspray.
No!
Lost my crap. Oh yeah, that's why I don't do crickets. Oh yeah, I was freaking out. They got stuck in my freaking hairspray. Right? Yeah. No. I even took a personal dislike to black little Porsches for the longest time. I'm like, no. Oh my God, Richard.
I can ram my head straight through a fucking brick wall.
Oh yeah.
No.
If I yes, like a giant fly strip. Exactly. Oh my God, Dandy, Richard Simmons. Oh my God, barf. Yeah, that was pretty bad. But then, I mean, I think we've gone into the 80s where we've talked like Speedos. No. It didn't matter how good looking the guy was. As soon as you seen that banana hammock, it was like, yeah, no. Yeah. No, I gotta go now.
What are those shorts that men had to wear? They had like underwear sewed into them, like cross country runners wore them.
Yes.
I was like, how do
Yeah.
you wear those things?
I think that's what Richard Simmons used to wear. I think that's what he used to wear because he would put his like bony little leg up there and like a big headband around his head. And yeah. Lizzie, you're being a monster tonight. No.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Yeah. The 80s. I don't think I like the 70s. They had some good music. Go.
Oh no.
Those are Haven. Yes, the banana hammocks. Oh,
Y-fronts?
yes.
Is that a UK thing? Y-front?
I think he's talking about a camel toe.
Oh, like a moose knuckle?
Yeah, I think I could be wrong. But I think that would be the thing. So it's kind of unavoidable if you are yanking up your pants with a hanger. The Y front is pretty unavoidable.
Oh my God.
Unless they had made a cup for women, which would have been nice, actually.
How did you all survive back then? My God.
But you'd run into some people that were like super, super religious, cultish almost, some of these people that you run into. Oh, no, not trouser pants. Pants. No.
No bananas in heaven. I think Perry's talking about tidy whities.
No, Y friends are.
Yeah, the ones that have the sneak in, reach in pocket in the
And look where
front.
my head went. No, I thought they were camel toes. I'm sorry.
And sometimes I have no idea what I get myself into.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the title a little bit.
Oh, no.
Camel toe, y'all. Well, I'm thinking about it.
I prefer moose knuckle. Put moose knuckle in there.
Okay, so I'm gonna eliminate. Okay, I think I will. Yeah, Friday updates.
Tidy whities. I think that's what he might be talking about. I'm not sure. I always did find it really odd that men had like an easier reach to their, privates first than women.
What?
Yeah, because like tidy whities have like that little slit pocket that like, so like when you get up to pee, you just slip it out. But like women always had to, like actually drop the drawers.
I gotta eliminate all of this. The only thing I can keep is join Franky and Mekci.
It's Friday, guys. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Turned into
Friday. We've had 6 weeks of freaking blubbering nonsense. Like, I'm so glad that's over, guys. Like, I'm so glad that's over.
Okay, turned into a small update and a great giggle. Yeah, a person does need to deflate.
Yeah, dude, we had 6 weeks of a trial. It's like we were all on duty. We were all on jury duty for 6 weeks.
Oh, and that's exactly how it felt.
Watching a freaking train wreck. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah. And then after watching the train wreck, watch it in detail, repetitively through that evening to make sure you didn't miss anything. Like,
taking notes,
oh, yeah, sitting in the dark,
diagrams.
right? Oh, okay. No, it's like decompressing is required. I'll do that, and then I'll do that. Get that out. Friday updates and a great giggle. You never know what's gonna happen. You just don't
To talk about like actual, what was on the subject. And I know I was like telling you this earlier. I'm really confused by Brian Koberger's traveling. Like, I'm not confused by it. Like, I just have like so many questions on that. Like,
yeah.
For someone who is new to the area to just go to a hot springs, if he really did go to Johnson, Idaho, he went to a hot springs.
Yeah.
Because that's all that's there.
Well, unless he knows somebody, right?
Unless he knows somebody.
Like, is it possible that there's another girl there?
And they had maps. They found maps in his car.
Yeah.
And I know you use maps, right? Because you said that, you grew up in the ancient era with maps. But most people would use their phone to travel around with maps.
So
but it would make sense that he would have a map if he turned off his phone and didn't want to be, followed.
Well, yeah. And, there's a lot of places in the bush that even on the highways, like in the mountains, you don't get any kind of cell service.
Yeah.
So a map is still kind of like a prerequisite if you go into the bush at all.
Right. No, for sure. I can see where it would be handy. I just find it strange for a guy like him who's new to the area to even.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like most people, like, because he's about my age, like you would just Google search the area, like you'd be like, oh, where I want to go here. And then you Google search it, maybe print out the map or send it to your phone where you can just follow the route.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like people like me, people my age, we don't get maps. We don't buy maps. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's going to depend where you live. Like if you live.
I don't want to know what book it is, Dandy. You have the same questions I do.
Yeah. What book is it? And whose IDs?
Yeah. There's something, can you pull it up? That the typed out version of it? Of what was seized?
Yeah.
Because I think it's like item 35. I could read it as like ID cards maybe found inside of the glove box, but it says inside twice, so it makes it seem like it's something different. So did he really have ID cards stuffed inside of a glove?
I think so.
Inside of a box?
I think so. That's my thoughts. So ID cards inside glove, inside box. Otherwise, it would say ID cards inside glove box.
Right.
So who's this person?
What ID cards are those?
Yeah. Where do they come from? Are those his trophies?
That's interesting. If there's like one trial that I'm ready for, it's this one. I mean, other than the Delphi one, but I'm ready for this one because I have a lot of questions about.
Yeah, and we're a long ways.
And Blifton, like I said earlier, like Blifton brings up really good points about how this guy, like, he just showed up in the area at 4:04 and then just immediately went into the house. Like, that's not like regular killer thing, you know? Like, they usually stalk the scene for X amount of time, like prior, like right before.
I don't
They
know. I
come
mean, some
in.
just walk right in and do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's ballsy as shit.
Yeah,
Like,
but they might check them out once or twice, think that they know the routine, and in they go.
and I also, I do remember Perry saying like maybe it was just like a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah.
Bringing that up, so like I can see that now, like with how finding out now, like what was going on with his life and his job, and like he was about to get fired, and
Oh, it was
he was
falling right
being
apart.
reprimanded a lot, and there was actually some things coming out
Mm-hmm.
prior to the killings.
Yeah.
I could see where he would just be like, that urge is just like, tonight's the night, I'm over it. Like,
Yeah.
but
I
also
mean, I'm not coming back.
what he did that night
Mm-hmm.
makes no sense. Like how he just drove around, and yes, he drove by the house, but he wasn't actually driving by the house. He was driving one street away from the house.
But there was cops on that street.
Yes.
So, right. So
That too. Like, that's just insane for him to be like, oh, well, tonight definitely is the night that I'm going to do it. Like,
yeah. I think if they didn't have stuff on him, he'd be out.
they got those swabs. Like, it's obvious now that they actually took DNA from him the day of the
Yep.
warrant.
Yeah.
So it must have matched
Mm-hmm.
to the profile that they had, or he would have been. We would already know. Like, he would have been released or something. Like, we would already know that it didn't match.
And they're not looking for anybody else.
No.
So that's interesting too. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things on here. All of, okay, they've got one knife, and then they've got like a kitchen knife in a sheath.
Yeah.
And then they've got a Glock, and then they've got, then they've also got the ammunition. Right over here, Taylor cutlery knife with sheath.
I do wonder, though, again, because I know you asked that question earlier when we were speaking, like, is that gun even his? Is that paperwork like, the paperwork matches the gun, but whose is it?
Well,
when did he purchase, and when was that purchased?
Record of sale. So they've got the record of sale. So when you buy a gun, do you have to fill out any paperwork?
Yes, and you will get there is a record of sale for it that matches the ID on the gun. So that, to me, that's obvious that record of sale belongs to that gun.
Okay, yeah.
Who's it under? Who does it belong to?
I bet you they wouldn't have taken it if it wasn't his. Not if there's a record.
I don't know. Like, they have a search warrant for the home, so they could take it. I would think that they would take it, just based simply because they have a search warrant for that address.
Okay. Did we figure out what Iman's drawing is?
No, but I do know that the asterisks mean that it's like they can't read the writing on it. So.
And another thing that surprises me is all the computers, all the laptops.
What surprises me is the hard drives that are listed separate.
Yeah.
From the computers. That's what's surprising to me.
And password there. Dark clothing in a laundry basket. A lot of dark clothing. And the thing is most of the pictures that he's in, he is not wearing dark clothing.
Mm-mm.
And then the Elantra, 7 quarters.
Right. I actually really giggled at that because I was like, damn, they really did inventory all of it. They're like
Right?
32 dimes.
Yeah. 8
7
pennies.
pence.
Yeah. We don't even have pennies anymore here.
I actually throw pennies away. I know. Don't shoot me. I'm wasteful. It's terrible. Like, if I pay in cash and you hand me pennies, I walk out of wherever I'm going and throw the pennies.
And just drop them. Yeah. Yeah. Some little kid's treasure.
Oh man.
So
Oh.
they did take the door panels, the seats, the seat cushions, the headrest, the seat belt, the visor. I don't know when they say fiber, I don't quite know what that means. Brake pedal, gas pedal. Oh, okay. Looking for some of the red stuff. I guess that's why that makes sense.
Yeah, anywhere your body would touch. Like what you might touch? Like you would touch the visor because usually there's a mirror there.
Yeah.
And you probably want to check to see if there's any blood on your face.
Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid. A Band-Aid.
Yeah, that's Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid.
Black hat, one black mask.
The boots. There was hiking boots in his car.
Yep. Yep, there was too.
Which isn't, I guess, too crazy.
Mm-mm.
But that is, considering what we know about him and his travels, it is a little bit weird. That there's
what about
hiking boots in his
Comfort
car,
Inn?
especially if he's not a hiker.
Comfort Inn room key.
That one.
Stay information. And a reflective vest.
Dandy, guilty.
Right?
Dandy, you'd be like the worst juror ever. You're just like, no, judge, I need no time. I've made my choice.
Any chance for a quick update? Where are we? Are you updated? Did we go through it?
I think he was talking about Koberger, right? Because is that what Perry was talking about?
I don't know. What would you like us to go over, friend? What? Yeah, he was on a mission. He absolutely was. Yep. Yeah, I can't see them. They got all of this in December. It was Koberger. I think so too. I really think so.
That's another one that they have a lot of digital evidence on, I think, that is gonna
it's pretty reliable.
solve the case.
I mean, it's not going to be bent and swayed by opinions. It's not going to be bent and swayed by gossip. It is what it is. And once that's out there, that they've got you electronically, you're kind of hooped. Not much to
It's double life. He got double life. Sorry, my partner's asked me like how much Murdoch got, and I was like, he got double life. Not even to be served concurrent, like
you won't even make one life sentence.
To be served separately. This guy is gonna die, come back to life, and serve another life sentence.
And then 700 years after he's done this.
Oh, not to mention after that.
I'm just kind of looking here at Brian Walsh's.
To be honest, I think he should just plead guilty
To everything.
He should.
To all those other crimes because
he's already admitted to them all.
Yeah.
Like,
way to go, whose ever idea that was. Good job, defense.
Yeah. The clown BK left a sheath and his DNA at the scene. That's the thing. And that's part of the reason why I think Maddie was the first one, because I think he probably thought that he'd be able to do that, get the hell in and out, but all of a sudden he had another girl upstairs, and all of a sudden people were being awoken downstairs.
That's what gets me, because that's what Bluffton says. Like, that's what, like, Bluffton has a really hard time with that, because he's like, killers don't do that. Like, and I don't think
Killers do
anyone
anything.
should be a professional killer. Don't be a professional killer, guys. That's not a freaking job you should take. But
No.
most professional killers will sit there and actually, once they arrive,
He's
they
not a
sit.
professional killer, though. He's
And they
really a
kind of see what's
professional.
going on, what's in front of them. This dude did not know what he was walking into. He had so many variables.
Neither did Ted Bundy, though.
Well, yeah, that dude was like ballsy as shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
which brings me to that
that's what I'm wondering about.
Papa Rogers guy. It brings me back to Papa Rogers, where he says that Kaylee was caught in the hallway. Was that him who said that? He said like Kaylee was caught in the hallway, brought her back into the room.
I don't know where that came from, if it was him or not. Yeah, Bundy had done it many, many times. I know, it's great. Yeah, it's wow. Yeah, glad that at least part one, the deep stuff, the heavy stuff with Murdoch, at least that's over.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, the criminal, like you said, he should just plead guilty. I mean, he's
plead guilty to all this. He's already said it on the stand that he did all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, you can't just take that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were sworn in, sir. You know what that means?
Yeah. Yeah.
This canon will be used against you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It will be. So just plead guilty. You're already going to prison for life.
Exactly. And it wouldn't surprise me if he does. Like, how's he going to fight it? Right? Like,
well, I don't want to see Poot do anything more. Poot needs to retire. Yeah. I think he should just be done. Be gone. Be gone, sir. Go, Alex. I would have a really hard time. I'm really glad I didn't go into that field. Not that I ever wanted to, but if I was to be a defense attorney, I would lose my shit if my client was up there just being like, yeah, I lied. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that. No, but I didn't do this. Like, dude, come on now.
well, and that's the thing. Like,
no one's going to believe you now.
No. And like I said, they were just kind of like bowing their heads by that point. They
were defeated. And and the only way I know how to relay that emotion, like I played sports my whole life. Like I was into team things. And you can see that, like, you know, when your team's losing on one side, you know, you're looking over at your bench and they're all like heads hanging down. You're like, bro, come on now.
Right?
I get no support, nothing. Like, you guys can't even be like, yeah, we can come back. We could do this. Like, I think they threw the flag, you know, that white flag way before the trial was over. Like,
oh my goodness. And it is, you're right, Dandy. It is going to be a drain to the state. And I don't know where Murdoch is supposedly getting this money.
What do you mean? He stole millions of dollars.
Well, this is it.
He's getting it from somewhere.
Yeah. Like,
someone knows where to get it from. Buster.
How are you? how are you justifying being able to pay for this? Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, if you're telling everyone you're broke, how have you got Cheech and other guy?
They could be doing him a favor. He could argue that because they have been friends for a long time. So, but he had just signed something for the Mallory Beach family. He signed over like millions of dollars to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like 43 million or some shit.
Yeah, it was
Like,
almost 50 million. That judge.
yeah, it was crazy. And I'm just like, where is that gonna come from? It's got to come from somewhere. He signed it over. Like,
yeah. And there's something, I don't know what it is about Moselle, but there might be something hinky going on with the sale of that too. No one's really knowing who bought that place.
that's interesting.
The law firm. Huh.
He's putting that money somewhere. And that's obvious because he did kind of explain a little bit that I think he signed some to Maggie, put some in Maggie's account.
Yep.
But he also had that Lefete, whatever that guy's name was, the banker. Lefete. Sounds like a French guy. That guy probably knows where to hide money too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And he's got the airplanes to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, that comment by Anthony Cook got me when he said, if we're to believe Paul, the planes were for hookers and drugs.
Yeah.
If we're to believe Paul, who apparently was kind of outlandish.
Like to exaggerate.
Yeah.
He must have laundered his stolen money through the law firm and bank, so they have some liability.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where those wire fraud transfers come from, because he had that Lafette, whatever that guy's name is.
I don't
The
know.
banker from Bank of America or whatever the hell. Where was he from? I don't know.
I can't remember, to be honest.
But he was, that guy already got tried. He's found guilty. He's trying to get a new trial.
Unreal. Yeah. What a whirlwind. It's not over yet. I mean, it's not over yet, but
Not
I don't think
close to being over. Unless he pleads guilty to everything, which I hope he really does, honestly.
Yeah, it would be the proper thing to do.
Save everybody the money, the taxpayer money, the jury, the court costs. Like, just plead guilty, bro.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering about flying them out, Perry, like all of those pills. That's what I'm kind of wondering about. The firm is paying back what he stole through them in claims. So does that mean that's insured, Dandy?
Probably. They probably are insured for that kind of stuff. Because it wouldn't be a firm anymore if they didn't have that money, because that would mean they'd be coming out of their own pockets.
Well, and that's what they're saying, is that some of it was.
Yeah, probably.
Because the firm owned the money. Like, it was the firm's money until the new year, when they're starting like a new tax year.
I do applaud them, though, for doing the right thing, because most times we can hear about stuff like that, like the firm or the company will still try to fight it.
Mm-hmm.
Not their liability,
Yeah.
And these guys immediately took responsibility for it.
Yeah, they did.
I found that kind of
Noble.
Yeah, worth applauding,
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Unless they just did that because, unless there's a devious thing behind it, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was absolutely fascinating, exhausting, kind of emotional too.
Yeah. It's
You
not
know,
fun watching someone's life.
implode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah. No, you do. You like
And you could see
that
him
was
you could see him
family. Like,
imploding in stages, you know, like every day was you could see that he was like losing, period. Just losing.
yeah, yeah. No, I want to know who the pilot was. Who owns a plane? I thought I heard the Murdochs had a plane.
Yeah. Right, not anymore. Not no more, they do.
Yeah, no, and again, that's I can't verify that 1000%,
Yeah.
but that is what I had kind of heard is that they had, yeah, they had a plane. And if they did, because he is up against, like, he's got those drug charges coming. So it makes the person kind of wonder. Maybe this is when cousin Eddie will make an appearance because I was pretty surprised we
I
didn't see
oh
him.
my God, I was super surprised he didn't take the stand because he was on the list.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm really surprised at that.
They only they took 60 out of something like 200, which is good because holy crow, is it going
I
on?
know when I was looking at that list, I was like, "Is this isn't gonna be like a 3-week thing? We're gonna be here forever."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to try and sleep in tomorrow. And then it's like, okay, well, now we're going to do this tomorrow morning, and then we'll just do this and this. And then it's like, okay, well, tomorrow morning then. And then it's like, okay, well, now we're going to go see Moselle. I'm like, okay. But it just kept extending. It was like, oh my God. And the one day when they went to Moselle, I thought, yeah, okay, well, at least I can sleep until this time. And then I ended up with something going on. It was like, oh my God, Escobarish, right? Escobarish. They would rarely fly commercial. They would charter flights. I remember reading that. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, if any, I did kind of when I was rewatching that Netflix thing because I know that's a big question is like where did the money go?
Absolutely.
And then rewatching the Netflix thing, and I was like, they were taking trips all the time, going to the Final Four, taking deep sea fishing trips in like
Yeah.
different countries, and I was like, that's where the money went. That's where it went. He used it to, at least that's one explanation of where the money went, is he could have used, like he was using it to spoil his friends and family, I guess.
Yeah.
But in this trial, I did find a couple of things surprising other than the quick turnaround with the jury verdict.
Mm-hmm.
The sentencing to me was really surprising as well, like how quick like the judge, I think the judge was just like so disappointed.
Yes.
That he was just like, I just want to get this over with. Like,
well, I mean,
I'm done with you. I'm
yeah.
so just he sounded like when he sounded like a parent, you know, that disappointed grandparent. It's
Well,
like, I can't believe you did that kind of thing. And
just think that judge had probably worked with his
yeah,
grandfather
and he did.
and the father and Randy and Alec.
Alec, yeah.
So, he probably is disappointed. He had to, like, the sympathy that he showed that jury when he said to them, like, you know what, not easy, but I think you really did the right thing, and thank you. And I think that's got to be it. They're all from that little tiny area there, and That wouldn't have been easy. And they just went in there and went, you know what? That's enough of this.
I did actually sit on that thought overnight because when I first heard the judge, like right after the verdict, the judge gave a speech right to the jury.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to feel about that. Like I went to pool and I was sitting there just thinking about it, and I was kind of like
Mm-hmm.
shocked that a judge would even express his own feelings
Yeah.
like that to the jury, and I didn't know how to feel about that. But then today, I slept on it, and then today I'm like, he was just really disappointed. Like, I think that's what it was. Like, he was just like absolutely disappointed in somebody who was supposed to take this oath of the law and to help, and he absolutely abused it.
Well,
and that's completely against everything the judge believes.
The grandfather, which means he would have watched Alex's dad kind of grow up and would have watched Alex kind of grow up. Well, no, not the dad. I guess they probably would have just more been around the same age, I think, by the looks of things. And then he's had Alex. And it's like, oh, wow. And when he gave his talk afterwards, I just thought it was awesome. Like, you're going to have to, no, he said, I bet you have nightmares.
Yeah.
When you sleep. And he's like, yeah, I do. Alex responded. And he said, well, you're going to have them for many more years, for the rest of your life. The last time you looked in their eyes. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really, only someone who actually cared about you could give you those kind of words. And I think the judge actually really did come to care about Alex at some point, right? Like during their
I have no doubt.
Working across each other. And he even mentioned something about Maggie and Paul, and I was like, wow. Like it was sentimental. Like he knew them. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Just a small area, right? Like they would have worked together very frequently.
And it took me a second because I really needed to sit on that because I didn't know how I felt about that. I was like, wow, this judge is really laying it out. But it makes sense to me, like now, like why he did say those things.
Well, I think he gives a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
It's nice to see.
And then he just watched this guy that he cared about at one time.
His freaking life and the life of many others.
And what he was able to do. You know? He was not a high functioning addict. That is not how that works. You do not take that kind of medication.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
And get hyper.
No.
It's
I don't believe that.
Oh my word.
I do not believe that he was taking all those freaking pills.
No. It's not even possible. Like, it's literally not even possible.
He would be dead.
Oh, he'd be dead 10 times over.
He wouldn't even be stealing. He'd be like,
no, he'd be dead. Like, you can is not even survivable. It's not something that's like, oh, well, maybe. It's not within the realms of possibility. Let's put it that way. It is
not the amount that he says that he was taking.
No.
That's a lie to me. Like, and it's kind of obvious, like the way he says it. I can't pinpoint what it is about the way he says it, but I'm like, that's a lie. You're not. No. Like,
well, and
what are you doing with those things?
Yeah, he was not spending $50,000 in a week. I mean, no. He wouldn't even. Oh my word! No, it is that cow patty. 100%.
He would have lost his job a long time ago. He would have.
Well, he wouldn't have had a job because he couldn't function, or he'd be in a grave. Like,
Because
just
I've hurt myself badly through the years, like doing stupid things, and like doctors will prescribe me some like really high medicated
yeah.
things. And I'm like, I'm not taking that. Because like I take it one time and I'm like, oh my God, like how do people even survive on these things?
Oh my goodness.
I'll
Yeah.
deal with the
And
pain. Fuck it.
I've never really had anything to do with pills for some kind of pleasure. It never has been something that I was even gonna do. It wasn't. I have not seen anyone get addicted to these kind of things and become successful.
No,
You go to
it's the
funerals.
opposite.
Oh, you go to
And like they
funerals.
were successful and then they just crashed and burned, which was what happened here, but
Yeah.
not in the way that he shows it. Like you
Mm,
immediately crash and burn from
well, and
that
anybody
kind
out
of thing.
there that's gonna say that they are a 300 plus pounds addict, what? I mean, you pass out, and when you are not like bombed, you are so sick that you're not eating nothing. You probably, I'm sure they can't even hold water down. They get right bloody sick. It's like, oh, no, no, no. And I'm thinking when you're sleeping all the time,
Nodding off.
yeah. I now when I say this, I mean I've mentioned that I've got like relatives deceased and maybe one or two are that are alive. I never seen them that way. I never I Not my family. I have never ever no, they slept. Bob slept. I'll use him. He would have his booze. He'd have his DRUG of choices, and he went to bed. Well, he didn't. He just probably fell face first. But I've never seen anyone be high functioning. I've never seen anybody. It's noticeable,
Mm-hmm.
No way did he function like that on drugs. Absolutely not. I mean, literally,
Not on those kind of
that's
drugs.
bad. Like, that's not a survivable situation. And I don't care what his tolerance is like. An ex-addicted person on heavy opiates said that is blah level of use, not possible.
Yeah, and then adding alcohol
true.
in the mix, like you're
Yes.
done.
Yes. Yeah. There was just, there's no functioning. And with what he's claiming to have, he would not even have survived. Like, you cannot build up a tolerance that is a deadly amount. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an OD. That is instant death. That is not.
Well, even if you did build a tolerance to where it wouldn't like kill you, you're still gonna be non-functioning. Like,
Oh, he wouldn't. He
you
wouldn't.
know what I mean? Like that many like opiates, you're just like what? Like
Oh my
drooling.
word! I couldn't
Like
imagine.
you're in the middle of a court case, nodding off.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for 1 second. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
believe that he was capable of doing these like scammy, schemy little things
Yeah.
the way he was, if
Wait.
that's how many drugs he took. Like,
What
and he drank on top of it. I don't believe it.
overdose amount on opiates?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
How many milligrams?
Gary never catches shit.
Exactly.
Here's what I found.
Please go on.
Me?
No, who Alexa or Siri?
Oh,
What the fuck?
yeah,
She said that's
she-
what I found, and she just shut up.
Well, and she brought it up, but not is not applicable. Fentanyl is more deadlier than age.
I mean, I've heard of people dying from freaking sleeping pills.
Well, yeah, prescription, I would think. That would be possible. I don't know, like, I cannot relate to myself. I cannot relate. Pills were not something I was ever interested in. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I know that there is a good percentage of our population that is addicted to opiates and what have you. And it is like a crisis,
Well, the people that were addicted to opiates was because they had an injury and then the opiates got too expensive and then they turned to something cheaper like heroin.
Yeah. Or by the time that their injury was healing, they were already addicted. Yeah. Yeah. And most doctors, I mean, some will, but most doctors don't tell you how addictive some of this stuff is. They'll say it's addictive, but literally one addiction can be like, the withdrawals can be kind of the similar, but the degrees are nasty, you know. Similar symptoms, just one's more drastic. I wouldn't, I guess pills have probably been a thing for years. It's just more, it's getting worse. Dandy?
I will never understand
I called you Dandy. I was thinking of you, Dandy. I was watching your, I was looking at that trying to go, what shit? Dandy?
I will never understand it, and that's me just being...
Yeah.
Well, I will never freaking understand it because I don't do those things, so...
Yeah.
I won't ever understand it, but I do have sympathy for them because I do know it's...
That's very true, Perry.
It's addicting.
Sorry for your loss. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, once you get addicted to it and you try to get off of it, it can also kill you. I don't... It's a terrible freaking cycle. So how do you actually, like, get yourself off of a terrible addiction? You wean yourself off?
There is definitely a weaning process. A lot of times people don't wean themselves and they run into all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the detox alone from coming off like a heavy drug like that is, it will kill you.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, you betcha. Yeah, it can. I mean, yeah, there's a process. I mean, even for any meds that we might even take throughout our life, like you say, for an injury or something along those lines, a person, if say you have to take them for a few months, well, a lot of these meds have already got you, and you just don't realize it yet because you're working on an injury. But then your injury is getting, pretty much. But now it's like you're getting sick because you don't have the medication for your injury anymore. And it just, for the most part, seems to be the way it goes.
That's terrible.
It is. It is. So with all of this stuff coming up with like the fentanyl and all of that stuff, are there less people using meth?
I have no idea. I don't know what the hell people are on these days, like, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference in
I've seen it ruin a lot of great people. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen it too. That's
Yeah.
not a.
Now, when I was a teenager, I mean, you and I have talked about my teenage years, and I didn't really have great guidance. So I partied, but I did this stuff. I didn't do it, and it wasn't around, or I don't know. The biggest thing when I was growing up, I guess, they used to take bennies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was about the only thing. And if they were going to huff something, it was going to be something like nitrous.
Z bars were something in my time.
I don't know what a Z bar is.
It's a Xanax bar, but it's an actual bar. It's like
What?
40 milligrams or something, maybe. Like, but it's white, and it's looks like a little oval, and it has little lines in it to where you can break it apart in 4 pieces. So I'm assuming it's like 40 milligrams. That Z bars. That's what kids were doing during my time.
Oh.
Mixed with alcohol. So
Yeah.
that'll mess you up one way or another.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't drink, and it's not that I never have. But how do you put
Hi,
that?
Terry. Thanks for joining.
Oh, 3:10. Have a great night.
I've missed you. I'm
Yeah, awesome.
eating Cracker Jacks. Infused Cracker Jacks are freaking delicious.
Well, remember how I was saying, maybe for an hour? We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I think I'll jump off.
I won't eat the rest of my Cracker Jacks.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us on a Friday night. That was just a little bit
Happy
of
Friday. I've missed all you guys. I mean, you've been doing those lives, so
Yeah.
we haven't really gotten
Oh, there was
that.
I would think so many nights, I should do a live. And I was like, yeah. And I don't wake up for it. So it's like, okay. So person will get some rest now.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks very much, Mekci.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I always enjoy it.
Miss
Right? I missed you so much. Okay, have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.